blessings are truly in store for us as believers. Well, I want to let you know I'm so excited to share with you the Chinese New Year message for 2018, entitled Blessings for the New Year, taken from the book of Galatians chapter 5, verses 16 to 25. And the first thing that the Apostle Paul was sharing with the believers, and God is telling us today, is number one, to walk by the Spirit, not by the flesh. When the passage uses the word flesh, it is not merely referring to natural desires. Things that, maybe you want to eat but don't do too much, or sleep, or enjoy yourself but don't do too much. Not referring to natural desires that are okay but don't do too much. The word flesh here refers specifically to sinful desires. Paul says, I say walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. And the word walk here means to conduct your life, to live out. You conduct your life, you live in a way that walks by the Spirit. The word walk here refers to conducting one's life. So Paul is saying here, to walk by the Spirit means to live your life under the constant direction and guidance of the Holy Spirit. Now let's go further to verse 17. For the flesh desires what is contrary to the Spirit, and the Spirit what is contrary to the flesh. They are in conflict with each other, and you are not to do whatever you want. Now, you see, it is clear now that the flesh and the Spirit, they are opposites. Meaning to say they are in conflict with each other. If you try to satisfy the desires of your flesh, you will go against the Spirit. And if you walk by the Spirit, you will not satisfy the desires of the flesh. We need to understand that we have a part to play in the overcoming of our flesh and in walking in the Spirit. We have a responsibility to walk in the Spirit, by the Spirit, and we need to partner with God. We need God's help. We can't do it without God. But it doesn't mean that just because we have God, we don't need to do anything. We just sit there and then just wait for God to pull us up. It doesn't work that way. We need to partner with God. So we have a choice to make. We can choose to be led by the Spirit, or we can choose to give in to the flesh, and God gives us that choice. The second thing that we can learn today is number 2, bear fruit of the Spirit, not of the flesh. Bear fruit of the Spirit, not of the flesh, from verses 19 to 25. Bear fruit of the Spirit, not of the flesh. Let me read out these verses for you. The acts of the flesh are obvious: sexual immorality, impurity, and debauchery, idolatry and witchcraft, hatred, discord, jealousy, fits of rage, selfish ambition, dissensions, factions, and envy and drunkenness. But the fruit of the Spirit, verse 22, is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Matthew chapter 7, every good tree bears good fruit, but a bad tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot bear good fruit. So in verse 20, he sums it up by saying that by their fruit, you will recognize them. When we look at these two lists of fruits that the Apostle Paul was listing, and when we look at our life, what fruit are we bearing? When we look at ourselves, do we identify more with the list on the left, or do we identify more with the list on the right? As Christ followers, we must live out transformed lives. We must. We cannot just be different. We cannot just be the same. We must be different because God is in us. God doesn't just want to transform the outside, the externals, the language, the behavior, the schedules. He wants to transform us from the inside out. God's desire is to transform us. Not just our circumstances, not just our behavior, not just things on the outside, but God's desire is to transform us from the inside out. And when God does that, when He transforms us from the inside out, you know what? People will be impacted. The people in your life, they will see